9 o'clock, and we do have a quorum, so I'd like to call the December 12th meeting of the Finance and Facilities Committee to order. There's no minutes.
Do we have a quorum?
She said,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I'm here.
yeah.
You're sitting right.
You know,
I've never been accused of being too quiet.
Margaret, as long as it's not over my 5 fingers that I can count, I'm okay.
72 years, it's the first time I've been accused of being too quiet.
Thank you for keeping me on my toes, though. All right. We got quite a few action items. So 2.1, recommend approval of payroll certification. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Margaret, second. Jim? Okay. 2.2, recommend approval of, and I'm talking so loud, I just feel like I'm screaming. Recommend approval of SUNY Apprenticeship of Operational Support Programs Grant Award. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jim, second.
Take turn.
Margaret, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. 2.3, recommend approval of 23-24 SUNY Child Care and Development Block Grant. Motion?
Second.
Margaret, second. Jim, any opposed? Questions? Motion approved. 2.4, recommend approval of Lockheed Martin STEM Engineering Excellence Area Grant Award. Motion?
Moved.
Jim, second.
I'll second.
Margaret,
Is that just goes to whoever's had a STEM and they dole it out?
This is through the foundation. That is then administered by the department.
Yeah, they're focusing on the electric car project.
Yeah, it said, because it said that they send them to competitions, et cetera.
Yeah, they go to a lot of competitions.
Nice.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 2.5, recommend approval of resolution for the new position description, Assistant Director for Information Technology Security. Motion? Margaret,
Second.
Jim, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Is there any, have you had any trouble with the security for the
With cybersecurity,
cybersecurity?
not that I'm aware. We
This
do
is-
have Aleutian, who is here doing an audit.
Oh.
And they've got a series of recommendations, I believe. Do you want to add anything or?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we've really been in good shape considering a lot of the other SUNY schools. But yeah, we're kind of trying to get a higher position for SUNY's recommendation to have someone that really is responsible.
Watching for
security.
it at all times,
Mhm.
but you haven't had any,
No, we've had a lot of warnings,
So
but we,
far, so
we,
good.
yes, handled
Okay.
them well, yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty
And
good
if the
department,
question
yeah.
came after the vote, this question answered, are still all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 2.6, recommended approval of resolution for a new position Director of Workforce Development Business Developer.
So moved.
second.
Margaret, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 2.7, recommend approval of resolution for the revised position description for Associate Vice President and Dean of STEM and Workforce Development. Motion?
Oh,
Margaret? Second. Jim, questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. 2.8, recommend approval of resolution for the new position description of supplemental support service coordinator. Jim, Margaret,
second.
questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 2.9, recommend approval of bid 2024-202 CNC lathe and live tooling.
Oh, bet, okay, pass.
Margaret? Did you motion? Second, Jim. Okay, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carried. 2.10. Recommended grant funding for nursing stimulation and training mannequins and an amount not to exceed $115,000. Motion? Moved. Jim?
Second.
Margaret? Question?
How many mannequins is this?
They're pretty
I
exciting.
think three or four, depending on pricing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carried. Recommend grant funding for a 3-head canning system and an amount not to exceed $60,000. Motion,
I'll move it.
Margaret,
Second.
Jim, questions?
I have a question. Recommend grant funding. Where's the grant funding coming from?
Perkins,
Perkins.
Oh, it's a Perkins grant, okay.
trying to maximize the use of this current year, which is about 875,000, of which about 600,000 is for equipment related
Sure.
costs.
Uh-huh. So so 60,000 is gonna go.
Out of that pot of money, 60,000 is available for this procurement.
Okay. Thank you.
The preceding,
Oh, I'm sorry, any more questions?
I just wanted to add, the preceding action item is also funded through Perkins. So,
Oh, the
nursing-
mannequins
the mannequins,
are-
correct.
From Perkins, okay, yeah, because they're all workforce development kind of thing.
Yeah, this connecting the two items. For
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any opposed? Motion carried. 2.12, recommend approval of fire protection system upgrade in multiple buildings on campus.
Move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 2.13, recommend approval to purchase computers and monitors from the New York OGS contract. I have to read.
Yeah.
PNS 20820, marketing LP for the fiscal year 24 yearly replacement of student laboratory and classroom computers and monitors. Motion, Jim,
Second.
question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 2.14, recommend approval of the network switches. Motion,
Move.
Margaret, second, Jim, question.
Recommend approval of network search. I don't understand. That's over $50,000?
it's an IT purchase. Can you
Oh,
help
yeah.
us with the switches?
170, that's why it's,
Oh, that's why it's in here. Okay. That's a lot of money.
network, the network is
Uh-huh.
very expensive. This is actually a rollover from last year as part of capital.
I didn't think we had any money left over from last year.
Capital funding, not operating budget. They didn't have enough time to get bids out and identify a state contract for it. But it's a major upgrade to the whole network.
So will they buy these through the state contract? or no?
Yes.
Yes.
State bid.
Any other question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. 2.15, recommend approval of resolution through master agreement CM 3994 with AP Benefit Advisors LLC, DBA EMB Insurance Agency for brokerage services related to obtaining cybersecurity insurance. Motion.
Second.
Jim?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
whoever moved it, I'll second.
Right. Margaret made the motion, Jim second. How about questions? Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposition, opposed? Motion carried. 2.16, recommend approval of resolution for the use of AGERF federal funds as local match for capital projects. Motion,
So
Jim.
Second.
Second, Margaret. Questions?
What's HEERF?
HERF funds, higher education recovery funds. They were administered during COVID.
Oh, this is the group, the thing from code, the end of it.
Federal stimulus.
And how do you say, so I didn't have to read all the letters?
Is the way to-
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carried. 2.17, recommend approval of Apple computers under grant funding 210224. Motion,
moved.
Jim,
Second.
Margaret, questions?
This is also Perkins grant funding.
This Perkins is all from last year, or this is,
This is all
24.
for the current July 1 through June 30 next year. But equipment has to be generally purchased during the first part of the fiscal
Oh.
year, which is July 1 through December. Colleges obtained an extension through about the end of March. So many of these Perkins grant recommendations to the finance committee is to utilize the funds, otherwise it goes back to
what's the entire grant for Perkins funding?
875,000. The college just received an increase. It was in the neighborhood of 550,000. So based on some metrics that they take a look at,
We got an
the college got a pretty substantial increase. And so we're trying to, college has significant needs in the equipment, academic side particularly, where the Perkins advisory committee generally identifies priorities. So especially in the STEM and health science area, those are two really, really high priorities to.
Tons of workforce development.
Exactly.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Motion carried. Informational items, the best part. President's report.
Good morning. I'm actually going to share my time with trustee Pistani to introduce to us the equity advocacy work that's being done by the New York Community College trustees and the New York Community College presidents. So I'm going to turn it over to.
Okay, right now, this is by Governor Hochul has put a lot of emphasis on workforce development in the upcoming budget. The combination of these two organizations have targeted $97 million as a goal to obtain in the governor's budget in workforce development month. This would not replace or be deducted from the regular state aid to community colleges. It would be to prepare for 20,000 job-ready positions when people graduate from here. It would help implement faculty hiring, retention, student development, etc. These two forms that you see really sum up a lot of it. Our members of both organizations have testified before the State Board of Regents already. And they received at least acknowledgement and halfway decent acknowledgement. They're meeting this week with the governor's budget staff. And they're going to be meeting later in the week with representatives of the United States Department of Labor. In fact, I believe a deputy secretary will be involved in the meeting. So this is moving very fast and furious. The timeline, the governor stated the state is scheduled for the 8th of January. Her budget message will be the 21st of January, and then the sausage making will take place between then and April 1st. So there's a lot of movement on this. Our organization, from the community college trustees, the presidents, especially Joe Keegan, the president of North Country, and Chris Duffy from Adirondack, have been really spearheading a lot of this. So I'll have more at the regular meeting, but that's kind of like we used to call them radio, the AM version of it.
Yeah.
And it's moving.
It is moving. And the presidents, the community college presidents, are proposing this other blue sheet, the Empire State Community College Workforce Guarantee. So the advocacy work being done by the trustees for another 97 million, the presidents have put forward this plan for how it would be distributed and spent. So it's asking for a budgetary line to support the workforce guarantee for community colleges.
And the presidents have been asked to send out letters to local hiring corporations, businesses, hospitals, whoever hires our people right out of here. The presidents have been asked to send letters to them. And those letters in turn will be, the completed letters will be sent to the governor, the budget office, Ways and Means, Senate Finance, and the higher education committees of both houses of our government.
And the reason for all of this is because the community colleges have not had a raise in things in years. I think 20 years. And also, you've got the funding that the four-year institutions get way surpasses what we get. And 45% of the students that are in New York State go to community college and are in community college. So we really feel that we have been ignored and that SUNY really only looks for the four-year colleges. So they're really putting it, we have Andreas who's working, who's working to speak to all the people in the government and see if maybe we can get a little more equity.
They're also asking for an increase in the base aid as well from over the $428 million. They're asking for an increase in that, but that does not include that has nothing to do with the 97 million they're asking for the workforce development.
So you have sample letters in front of you that we will be identifying. So I will ask the senior staff to help identify businesses that we would ask to write letters on behalf of the college and on behalf of the advocacy. We'll keep a track of those letters that are distributed out of the president's office so we can provide that information to NYCCT as well as the presidents, so we can see how effective our advocacy will be. But this is really very exciting, and if we can secure $97 million, then I think we can exhale a little. And
they keep saying you have to do this for workforce and you have to do this for workforce, but there's no money behind it so far.
So
which is typical of New York State.
We're going to strike while the iron is hot. We think that the governor's goal of 20,000 new employees is one that community colleges can factor in pretty well. So it's good, and we'll keep it posted. I want to, Kathy Williams is not here, so I just want to announce that on November the 28th, the 24 Hours of Giving campaign occurred. We raised $246,496
Good.
from a record number of 556 donors. So a lot of engaged alumni, employees, students, and community members. And just this morning, we received confirmation that our grant for the Avangrid Foundation to help support the Broome Closet was awarded. They were awarded $100,000 to help renovate the Broome Closet, as well as supply it and staff. So that's really good news. The only other thing, just because I want to be respectful of time, is that our Board of Trustees retreat is on Friday. And I'm hoping that we can have a nice, rich, robust conversation about the future of this institution. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
How long will the speaker just be, will give a speech at the beginning, or will she just
She's
facilitate
gonna
the work
facilitate the day for
the
us.
whole
Yeah.
day? Okay.
Okay. Michael, 3, 2, 1 through 6.
Okay, so we'll start with last year's fiscal year 2022-2023. We're kind of finalizing the external audit by Bonadio for our audited financial statements. Just want to acknowledge Jeanette, among a couple of the titles, the controller for the college, and she really drives the audit every year, among other things. And we've had clean opinions for, gosh, probably up to 10 years. It looks like everything is looks good. They've visited. They've spent usually a couple of weeks between HR and finance office. So they've done most of their detailed work. Still waiting. As part of the college's audited financial statements, the 3 affiliate called component units, Foundation, Housing Corp, and FSA, all have to be included. So some of that work still needs to be done, but I think we're targeting presentation to the board either February or March. So that's last year. Current year budget forecast, which is the first item in your packet, is the same as it's been for the last several months. As we identified, we had about a $1.6 million revenue shortfall between campus enrollment and then the BAP discontinuation, which only impacted spring for this fiscal year, but will impact the entire year next year. So I have included behind the traditional monthly budget forecast a fiscal impact page that just shows you the impact of about 1.6 million for the entire year. So in the neighborhood of about 800,000 for each of the 2 semesters. Relative to next year, college has issued capital project department requests that are due the first week of January, and there'll be a lot of discussion, conversations, and that's submitted first to the county. They're issuing that to all their county departments, of which we're kind of sort of a department to them. So that will probably be due to them sometime in the end of February, early March. So the plan, I think it would be appropriate that we come before the board before we submit that to the county. So the plan would do that in the February. Finance, probably just go right to the board with the capital project submission that we anticipate providing to the county. So that's capital, and just related as the affiliate Housing Corp. We're still waiting for Moody's to issue a credit rating for the housing refinance project. That's coming to the 10th year, and 10th year requires Housing Corp to go out and refinance the project. So that's been a project the college and Housing Corp has been working on probably since COVID.
What do you think the rate will be, the Moody's?
We don't know what it's going to be. We're
What your educated get?
Putting him on the spot.
I don't know how educated it is, but we're very. Let me say it this way: we're cautiously
Be optimistic.
optimistic that we may get investment grade, which would be a B.
Okay.
Anything, and if you can get a B, there's a number of enhancements when you're going up to the market, which ultimately reduces the interest rate
Right.
you have to pay for the project. So we're supposed to maybe hear by the end of this week, if not, probably next week at the latest. So we'll communicate, Dr. Hawkins will communicate to all the appropriate stakeholders as soon as we find that out. It's not a make or break. We'll be able to go out into the market.
But it's still better.
It's better from a number of vantage points. I think both on behalf of the college as well as for housing.
Can I just state, this has been a really big project. A lot of hours, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of back and forth, and I want to applaud both Michael and Jeanette for their work, and Larry as well. I'm sure you were very involved.
Somewhat.
By a few figures. So I just want to say thank you for your work on the Moody's project.
So in the rest of your packet, which are all pretty standard items, you have the human resources, just transactions that happened. We didn't have a board meeting last month, right, November, so it really reflects a couple of months of activity. And there's a list of grants that are under 50,000 that we don't submit to the board, so that just gives you some information about a number of other grants that the college has accepted. The investment report, and again, probably the college will come back to the board maybe in February for a comprehensive investment policy. We're really following New York State Comptroller, who has a template for that. So it's currently meandering its way through all the shared governance review process, and given curtailment, some other time constraints, I'm not too sure we'll have it for January, but we'll have it for February. Really doesn't materially change what the college is currently doing, but most of the details are in the procedures, and we felt it was important, finance team especially felt it was important to include that all in policy, that the board really authorizes the college how to proceed. So we'll have that, I think, in February, but this tells you what our investment results have been. As you can see, there's in the neighborhood of $9 million of cash that we currently invest. And as you know, the market has been up compared to COVID when it was at zero. It's in the neighborhood of 3.5%, 4.5%. As you can see, it's improved because interest rates have been going up for the last, I don't know how long, 12 months. So that's in your report. And then we indicate that to ensure that we can refinance the housing project, housing didn't make its monthly mortgage payment. So that's everything.
Thank you,
under my
Michael.
report.
Okay, information. Dave?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have my report in front of you. I'll hit the key items. The bathroom project that we had ongoing in both Old Science and Student Services has been completed, with the exception of finalizing the fund list items. As you can see, we'll expect to submit approval of the retained release at the January 2024 board meeting. We have a meeting scheduled with the project team for this Friday to review the cost estimates for the Decker nursing renovation project. A fairly critical issue, item number 4, paragraph number 4, we're still awaiting issuance of building permits for a number of projects. And Broome County is also awaiting issuance for a number of projects on their end. But it's becoming problematic in that we're starting to get equipment delivered for some of these projects that were bid quite some time ago. And until we get that building permit, the contractor cannot start the work. So I've reached out to the county a number of times. I will continue to do so. I'll mention it at Thursday's meeting, but it's not a critical level yet, but we're getting pretty close. So I'll.
Why isn't that happening?
I was just gonna ask that.
They only have one engineering firm that issues building permits that works with the county to issue those permits, and my guess is that there's a significant backlog of work. And I do know that firm lost one of their engineers as well, so I think it's just a backlog of work.
That's their problem, not our problem.
That is correct, but
But it becomes our
until we
problem.
get that building permit, right? And that's a coordinated effort between both the county and the engineering firm.
Can they hire another engineering firm also?
We have.
Additional?
We have suggested that. We've also suggested reaching out to the city of Banton, using their personnel if possible. What becomes kind of sticky is if an engineering firm is issuing building permits for the county, then they're not going to be able to bid on any projects that we have. So if I'm an architect, I sit back and say, I'm going to make more money over here doing this as opposed to working on the building permit. So that's part of the problem too, Margaret. So. But we'll continue to push forward. And as I said, we're not quite critical yet, but we're getting there.
Well, you hate to have that equipment sitting there.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but it's going to be delivered fairly quickly. Yeah. We've got some steel that's scheduled to be delivered, but we'll find a place to store that. But yeah, we got to keep pushing ahead, and we got to keep putting the word out. So,
Okay.
one more item that I'll touch here. As I said, you have my report. We've completed the installation of the interior locks. That lock very simply on 4 of our buildings: Titchener, Library, Decker, and Business. We're continuing to move forward on the installation of those, with Wales Student Services and Old Science being next in line. So we should have that wrapped up within the next month. And as I said, the status report of a number of other projects we have ongoing is listed as well. So I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Dave? Before we conclude, is there any other discussion or question?
Can I just mention that, the community college trustees had a conference in February, and Penny was on 2 different areas. And she set it up and got all these people here, and I think it was a good face for Broome to see, or people to see Broome Community College. So I want to thank you.
Our speakers did a great job, so.
Yeah, they
thank you for
did.
asking
Yes, they
questions.
did.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
I just want to welcome Diana back.
Yes, I
Good to see
already.
you.
We missed you, Diana.
I wanted to thank Danny, who stepped in as well, but it's good to see you back. Good to have you back.
Seeing no other business, the next meeting is potentially, I say potentially, you never know what the weather's gonna be, January 16th. Well, it says 23, but we want 24 at 9 a.m. Hey, I'm not sharp today, but I'm okay. I know what next year is. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to be adjourned. Margaret, that's. Wow. Any adjourned.
Nature. Yeah, it's got-